I want to tell you a quick story about a recent time that I was stuck in my own head. See, there was this girl, and in many ways I was completely fascinated by her. I remember meeting her for the first time or just seeing her, and I thought she was really cute, but I didn't think too much of it, right? Like, it was just a passing thought. Whatever. You see cute girls all the time. And then, a couple of months later, I find out that I'm going to be working with her. And immediately my first thought is, this might be trouble. As we start working together, I get to know her a bit better. I'm starting to see her every week, learning about her. And then that's when I start to get really intrigued, right? She has a great sense of style. She has really cool and interesting hobbies. We have similar interests. There's all these cool elements to her personality that make me really intrigued. Now, if this was any other girl, I would have asked her out, no hesitation, just right away. I've dated a decent amount of women to be pretty comfortable in this kind of scenario, right? I'm usually pretty confident. But because we work together, the overthinking kicked in. My mind started running through scenarios like, I don't want to make things awkward. What if I tell her how I feel and she doesn't feel the same way? What if I ruin the team dynamic? I don't want to do that now. That would be weird. Maybe I can ask her out without asking her out. This stuff plagued my mind for weeks. I'm saying I was journaling about it, I was talking to my brothers, talking to a few very select friends about it, and clearly I was just overthinking it. I remember vividly, I'd be trying to focus on my work, maybe it was writing a video or filming or whatever, and she would pop into my head, and all of nowhere I would just lose focus, get completely sidetracked, and start spinning circles in my head about this. Now, on one hand, to be honest, it felt nice to have a crush again. I haven't felt this way in a long time about someone. I've been so focused on building my career, on creating content and doing this whole thing on the internet that my dating life has just completely took a backseat for 2 years. So I was excited, but at the same time I could see all the mental waste that was going towards this. So I finally decided to start taking action. And I was like, all right, no more. And I sent her the dreaded text message of, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Can we meet up? So she agrees, but on the day of, something came up for her and we couldn't meet up. I'm like, okay, no worries, some other time. Later that night, at around 11 p.m., she texts me saying, hey, is the thing you wanted to talk about something we can do over text? Yeah, not good, right? Obviously, I want to do this in person because there's so much emotion, so much more connection that you can make with someone in person for this kind of scenario. But I didn't want to keep her in suspense, and I also didn't want to keep myself in this weird limbo. So I swallowed my pride and I sent her a voice message. It was like 2 minutes long, just pouring my heart out, saying how I feel, very vulnerable, and basically saying, I think you're really interesting. I would love to get to know you more, and I asked her out on a date. Immediately, she sees the message. I get the little blue ticks on WhatsApp, and I see her start typing. And then it stops. I'm laughing nervously, obviously, because this kind of thing always happens, right? So she stops typing, and then I don't hear back from her for another 2 hours. And then there's just 2 hours of pure anxiety. My mind is running wild. I tried meditating. I tried journaling. I was just like anxious, right? This feels horrible. Finally, after 2 hours, she responds. I pick up my phone, and it's just a block of text. Hey, I'm sorry, but I don't feel the same way, and we should just be friends. Ouch. Right? Obviously, this hurt a lot, and no one likes getting rejected. But you know what? There was also this weird sense of relief. I was proud of myself for getting out of my head, saying my feelings, and just taking action. Right? It felt good to just do something about the situation. And that's the thing. Overthinking keeps you stuck. You're spinning your wheels, but you're not moving forward. Because I took action, even though I didn't get the result that I wanted, I was able to move forward. I was able to, okay, she's just another human, someone I can connect with, and if she doesn't see me that way, that's okay. She wasn't for me, but now I can gain control of my focus again and focus on my business and open myself up to connecting with other people potentially. And this is what I want to help you with today, because learning how to stop overthinking and simply take action is one of the most important skills that you'll ever develop in your whole life. See, when you learn how to stop overthinking and take action, what happens is that you will learn to fail faster. And the faster that you fail, the faster that you learn, and therefore you create the rapid feedback loop that you need in order to make progress towards anything in your life, right? And this doesn't apply just to dating or relationships, like the example I just gave. It could be a business that you want to launch, a creative project that you want to launch, anything really. If you're stuck in these negative thinking loops of, oh, what if I fail? Like, what will people think? Maybe I'm not skilled enough. Maybe I need to learn more about this thing before I get started. If you're just stuck there spinning your wheels, you're never going to make any progress. So truly, this is one of the most important videos you'll ever watch if you give me the time. What we're going to be covering is 4 tools grounded in cognitive behavioral psychology that will help you stop overthinking and take action, right? So if you're ready, pull out a pen, paper, and I'm going to get into it. I'm trying this new thing with a whiteboard. Hopefully you like it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so the first method is called feel to heal. Now, there was research done by Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, who was a Harvard neuroscientist. And what she found is that the chemical process in our brain when we are reacting to an emotional situation only lasts 90 seconds. 90 seconds, that's it. Therefore, if a person chooses to stay in that emotional loop, then it's that, a choice. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you're in an emotionally charged situation, right? Something sparks feelings of anxiety or sadness or loneliness, unwarranted lust, whatever it may be, you're going to set a timer on your phone for 90 seconds, or maybe just look at your watch if you have one. 90 seconds. Set a timer, close your eyes, right? This is going to help you remove stimuli and help you narrow your focus. And then we're going to do 3 things. Identify the emotion, label it, and then feel it. Just sit with it. Identifying it. You're going to close your eyes and just focus on the emotion in your body, right? Where do you feel it? Is it in your chest? Does your chest feel tight? Maybe you feel it in your head. Maybe you notice that your breath is more shallow than usual. Whatever it may be, just feel the emotion in your body, right? You're identifying it. The next thing you're going to want to do is label it. You're just sitting there, you're feeling the emotion, and you say, this is sadness. This is loneliness. This is anxiety. Don't identify with it, right? Don't engage with it. You're just labeling it. It is important that you see the emotions as something outside of you, that you see yourself as the observer of your emotions rather than the puppet that's getting pulled along by it. Right? This is really important. After you've labeled it, after you've identified it, just feel it. Wait the 90 seconds. Just feel the emotion. Just sit with it. You'll be surprised at how powerful this is, because I know it sounds stupidly simple. As the time goes down, as those 90 seconds pass, you'll notice the emotions start to dissipate. It will lose its weight, and you'll feel like this weight is being lifted off your spirit. So give yourself this gift. Do this often. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is called entertaining the devil. I've called it this fancy name because it sticks out to me. It sounds cooler. But this is based on a concept from cognitive behavioral psychology called stimulus control, or sometimes you might hear it called scheduled worry. What this is essentially whenever a negative thought comes up throughout your day, whenever you say you're working on a task, you're doing whatever, and you get this limiting belief. I don't know enough about this thing. How am I going to reach out to clients? They're going to know that I'm not skilled enough. They're not going to want to work with me. Whatever it may be, you get a negative thought, a negative belief, self-doubt, anxiety, something come up. All you're going to do is take a piece of paper, a sticky note, maybe a notes on your phone, and write it down. Write down the limiting belief, write down the thought, acknowledge it, but then park it for later. You say to yourself, all right, this is anxiety, this is the belief, I hear you, but we're not going to talk about this right now. I'm doing something. And then you set a designated time later in the day, say it's later that evening, or maybe you have a scheduled time every single week where it's your worry time, it's your fighting with the devil time, where you go back to that list of negative thoughts, to that list of negative beliefs, and you actively entertain it. What this does is you're compartmentalizing your negative thinking. You're essentially, instead of being pulled by your negative thoughts, you are taking control of them. You are choosing when you get to engage with them. Instead of letting the devil control you, which the devil here represents your self-doubt, your fear, your anxiety, your imposter syndrome, you are choosing to entertain it on your own terms. And research in psychology has proven that when we do this, when we compartmentalize our negative thinking and we designate a specific time for it, we reduce cognitive load and decision fatigue, right? Cognitive load is this idea of all the little decisions and things that we have going on in our day, from the simple things like, what am I going to eat today for lunch? What am I going to wear? That email that I have to respond to, whatever it may be. All of these decisions add up in your brain, and they cause fatigue, they cause anxiety, along with these negative thoughts. So by compartmentalizing it and dealing with it later on your own terms, you're gaining control over your mind, right? When you get to this point, later in the day, say 6:30 p.m., you're going to have your entertaining the devil time, your worry time. You're going to use one of the following two methods. And this next one right here, the Courtroom Method, is the most powerful one. This is the one you're going to want to take notes of. I encourage you, after you're done this video, you try this out. The Courtroom Method is essentially when you're going back and you're going to review that negative thought. I'm not good enough at this. I will fail if I try this. I don't want to promote my product or services. I don't want people to think I'm salesy or like a scammer. Whatever the negative thought or pattern, oh, I'm behind in life, people that are younger than me are doing better than me, whatever the thought is, you're going to approach it like a lawyer, right? What is the evidence for this belief? There's a couple of questions that I want you to ask. I'm going to create some space here. I'm going to erase my little drawing, but it'll be worth it. The first question is, what evidence do I have for this belief? This alone is extremely powerful, right? When you ask yourself, okay, I think I'm not good at public speaking, and you go back and you ask yourself, all right, what evidence do I have for this belief? Okay. Well, there was a couple of presentations that I did in high school that didn't go so well. I didn't get that good of a grade, or I just felt really nervous and anxious. Okay, small pieces of evidence from high school. Is that really what you're going to let dictate your entire life and the progression of your career? Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? What about times that I was at a bar or at a coffee shop or just hanging out with a couple of friends and I told a good story and they were engaged, they were listening, they were laughing? Oh, okay, that's evidence too. Okay, write that down. So you're just going through these beliefs and you're trying to trace it back to where it came from. What evidence do I have that I feel this way? Oh, I'm feeling behind in life. Oh, there's all these young millionaires on the internet and I'm trying to start my business, but I can't get it to take off the ground. All right, what evidence do you have that you're behind in life? Look at your situation actively. Maybe you've improved your confidence over the past couple of years. You learned how to dress better. Maybe you started hitting the gym, right? The fact you're even starting a business is fucking incredible and you're ahead of so many people. But what happens is that you're in this internet echo chamber that's feeding you all these young millionaires, all these fitness influencers. So you're comparing yourself to a very small percentage of the population. And even then, you don't know if these people are lying. Oh, I make $10,000 a month. Do they? Right? Is it in Australian dollars and it's actually like $5,000, $6,000 a month? You're comparing yourself to a very niche group of people. And then you put it in perspective. It's like, oh, what evidence is there that I'm behind in life? Well, the reality is 30% of people have mental health issues. 40-something% of people are obese or overweight. The majority of people in my age group are actually drinking and partying every single weekend and they're doing all this crazy stuff. I'm actually doing pretty good. So when you find the evidence for where this belief came from, it can help you ground yourself in reality. In CBT, it's something called reality testing, right? It's the same thing. And when we do this, when we reality test our beliefs and we challenge them, we challenge our assumptions, we are rewiring our brain to make our default mode of operating more rational, more balanced. We are training our brain to literally become more rational and see things objectively as they are. Because we're all guilty and we're all victim to these things called cognitive distortions, right? These are heuristics or little mental shortcuts that we have that are just not true, right? So things such as black and white thinking. Black and white thinking is when we see things in binary terms. It's like, this is either going to go horribly or it's going to go extremely well. And there's no in between, right? It's black and white. There's no gray area. But life doesn't work that way. Reality doesn't work that way, right? Another one is catastrophizing. Something bad or negative happens to us and we immediately jump to the worst possible case scenario. We jump to the worst possible conclusion and we replay that problem in our mind and we're practicing problems. It's catastrophizing. It doesn't make any sense, right? So taking your problems, your negative beliefs to court and finding the evidence is very powerful. There's one more question that I want you to ask. Can the opposite be true? Can the opposite be true? Whatever negative belief you have, self-doubt, that maybe it's that public speaking thing, maybe you think, oh, whenever I put myself out there, I'm going to get rejected. I don't know enough to start this project. this is the biggest setback of my life. I don't know how I'm going to recover from this. Can the opposite be true? And really follow this rabbit hole. And then ask yourself, is there evidence of that? You ask yourself, can this opposite belief be true? And then go into your memory bank and try to find evidence to prove the opposite thing, right? Maybe you think, I just can't stick with a fitness routine, right? I've tried like 3 times to do this new diet or to start going to the gym consistently, but I can't find the motivation or willpower. I don't know what it is, but I just can't stick with it. Clearly, I'm not disciplined enough. I don't know what it is. I just can't stick with the gym. Okay. First of all, what evidence do I have for this belief? And then you go into your memory bank. Okay, yeah. I tried 2 different diets and they didn't really work for me. How did I fail? Oh, okay. I didn't make enough time to go grocery shopping. I ended up saying yes to going out for dinner, blah, blah, blah. And you figured out, all right, that's the evidence. That's what happened. And don't lie to yourself. Be objective. But then you say, okay, can the opposite be true? Like, is there evidence in my life, maybe in other areas, where I have been disciplined, where I have said that I was going to do something and then I stuck to it? On those days that I did go to the gym, on those weeks that I did manage to eat healthy consistently, what happened? What did I do those weeks? So here you're literally training your brain to see reality from an objective perspective, right? This is super, super powerful. I really encourage you to try this. Finally, is the double standard method. More often than not, we will treat ourselves, we will speak to ourselves with so much disrespect. Truly, we are our own harshest critics, right? If you were to analyze your self-talk and the things you say to yourself on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and you wrote it out and you like looked at it, you would know immediately that you would never, ever think to speak like that to one of your closest friends, to a family member, to someone you cared about. So why do you speak to yourself this way? If you believe that you're someone worth caring for, someone that is worthy of love, like, why are you holding this double standard? And this is so simple and it might sound so like cliche or self-helpy, but genuinely it is extremely powerful to treat yourself like someone worth caring for, treating yourself with compassion, with love, with understanding. And this goes hand in hand with the feeling to healing. If you treat yourself with all this judgment, all this resentment, and you let that pile up and you keep suppressing it, that's going to stay in your body for years. It's going to keep affecting you. Instead, feel it, right? Maybe you fell back into an old pattern. You said you weren't going to check your phone in the morning, but then you did it. You said you weren't going to visit certain adult websites, but then you did it again. Okay. Feel to heal. What do you feel? Sit down, 90 seconds. All right. You feel it in your stomach. You feel shame. Yeah, I feel shame. Maybe you feel some disappointment. And you sit with the emotion. You label it. You feel it. You allow yourself to feel the emotion. And then when you go back to journal, you use the double standard method. Right? Don't continue to berate yourself. Don't continue to judge yourself. That's not helping anyone. You have to treat yourself with compassion. You have to treat yourself with love. Self-improvement is just one half of the equation. Self-acceptance is just as important, right? So treat yourself with compassion. Don't hold a double standard for yourself. Treat yourself like someone worth caring for. Treat yourself like someone you would want to support and help see grow. I promise you, if you incorporate these 4 things into your everyday life, you're going to start seeing changes within a week. So try that. Let me know if it helps. And I'll see you next week. I'm sorry I left for so long. I recently started posting a reel a day for 100 days on Instagram. So I'm kind of trying my best to not just create on YouTube, but create on other platforms. And it took a lot of effort. But hopefully now I can start creating on YouTube consistently again. Anyways, peace, love. If you're a long-time supporter of this channel, I love you. Genuinely, your support means a lot. I hope this helps you. Peace.